Ladies and gentlemen, people of all ages, children of all ages, if you've been around the Miramichi for any length of time over the years, everybody's gonna recognize this fine gentleman. One of my best friends' pops, Mr. Bob McCullum. He has spent, many countless hours playing that beautiful guitar right there, singing some songs, and usually for benefit purposes. So Bob's going to share with us right now to start off another episode of Mirami-histor-chi with one of his originals. So Bob, anytime you're ready, give her.
Miramichi, life is alive. You and I love to live, living free on Miramichi. Miramichi, life is alive. You can live for today, make a happy retreat to the Miramichi. If you come, I'll take you salmon fishing at Old Gray Rapids where the water runs high in the spring. If it's swimming that you're loving, you'll love it when you're swimming in the cool waters, clear and deep. You'll love it. Miramichi, life is alive. You and I love to live, living free on the Miramichi. Miramichi, life is alive. You can live for today, make a happy retreat to the Miramichi. I could take you to the Shire Down or Chatham, where people are so friendly, they'll make your life a bundle of joy. If you go further down the river, your heart will start to quiver. It'll make you want to sing and shout, I love it. Miramichi, life is alive. You and I love to live, living free on the Miramichi. Miramichi, life is alive. You can live for today, make a happy retreat to the Miramichi. Come to the Miramichi.
Oh, thanks, Bob. That
You're
was
very
beautiful.
welcome. Hope it turns out for you.
Oh, it'll turn out, and Roger will be very happy to hear that. So thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Well, I'm in the old historian's place. He's got stuff going on in the kitchen. New countertop installed yesterday. And if you look over here on wheels, we have a dishwasher. Now that dishwasher is going to make its way into there, and it's going to get used. You can count it on 0 fingers because it's been sitting there for 5 years now. It hasn't been used once. Plus tax. And Roger was like, well, they told me I needed one, so I got it, and I don't need one, is what he says. So there you go, Josh Cummo out in Bowmanville. What do you think of that? Roger's just to my left. Here's a couple of housekeeping notes, folks. Welcome to Mirami-histor-chi episode number 17. So yesterday we showed a picture of Wendy Daly, and I got confused. I was reading Snowball Bonspiel, and of course I know a Bonspiel is curling. And here I was thinking it was like some snowball winter carnival thing. So it was Wendy Daly curling. Sorry about that. And the Carasac School of Dance, I was naming out all these names, and I didn't go through the whole program. And one name I forgot to mention was Amanda Cummo, Roger's daughter. So I thought about those two things as I was watching replay last night. And old Raj is just getting some notes together, and he'll be with us shortly.
Usually it's something that's
I got one right here.
Not good to start off with?
Oh, why not?
Eh?
Oh, you can find something if you want. Mirami-histor-chi.
We'll get this here out of the road too.
I think we're on episode 17. Roger Como is just getting pulled in all directions. He's got phone calls coming in. He doesn't even know where his pens are and his highlighters and what pockets what. He's up in town, he's driving people places, taking them to doctor's appointments, but he still has time for his number one obligation, folks, and that is Mirami-histor-chi, bringing history lessons to our local community. No, we're having fun. Once again, the local historian's with us. We're down in his basement. Decades of documentation. Raj, I got a phone call from Andy McTavish today. I sent him the text last night to show him that you had his photo, and he's like, "How did he have that?" So he remembered he won like a free throw competition in elementary.
Yeah.
He got to go to St. Andrews. He said he got to go to St. Andrews by the sea for the provincial championship for the free throws, and then because he was there, he got to go into the United States. It's right across the border.
Oh my.
And he thought when I was going to cross the border, I thought I was going to be in New York City, and he goes, I was just a little bit disappointed. Yeah, so that's good. Okay, what do you think we should start with today? Here's one here. Everybody in the Miramichi knows the Kingstons. And this is just a little article. It says Kingston's Convenience opens a Chatham store, and that was right down by the old Vogue that just had recently burnt right now across from Creative Grounds. It's kind of a very good location. I filled up there the other day, put my name on the back of the receipt. Hopefully I can win a free tank of gas. It says, modeled after its namesake store in Newcastle, Kingston's Convenience opened its doors August 10th in Chatham. This is 1988, by the way, part 2. The Chatham store, where 7 part-time workers are employed, looks like most other convenience spots with a microwave, magazines, movies, general food items. There used to be 5 car wash bays where the store stands on the corner of Kennard and Wellington Streets. And I think there is a car wash, or they opened up another one. Well, when they first opened, there was no car wash. There was.
Well, they had 3 or 4, and
Right.
it went down to 1.
Oh, I see.
So it may be still there. I don't know.
Oh, right on.
I don't think that's hard to
There it
say.
is.
Okay.
Little local story telling us about the opening of a new convenience store. And all you had to do at that time was just get out and drive around for 2 minutes, and you would have noticed it yourself.
Yeah. Okay, we got a story here put in by Jane Wood back in '88 of this lady here
Okay.
that had quite a collection.
Oh, wow. Jane Wood, another local reporter. This was Northumberland News back in 1988. And here's a story. Bell Collection makes kitchen heart of home. Here's a little story about, I'm using my phone as a camera, and I see a phone call coming in from a friend of mine, but we're just going to disregard that. I'll give her a call back. Hey, Stephanie Carruthers in Vancouver. I miss you. Okay, Bell Collection makes kitchen heart a home. This is Marg Clark. She holds a copper bell from Hamilton, Ontario. The bell is one of many she has collected over the years. She has a bell collection. Like, how many people have you guys ever met in your life that actually have a Bell connection? Now, I have a Bell connection because my brother-in-law works for Bell Alliant. Okay, so she has 134 bells that make up her prized collection. She started collecting bells in 1979, and that's when she received an anniversary bell. Then somebody gave a birthday bell, and I decided right there that I'm collecting bells, Marg said. The longer I collect bells, the more I enjoy it. But every one has a special meaning for me. I even have one from Pakistan. My brother was there after World War II. Marg has a bell made from the ash of Mount St. Helen, and that is the mountain in Washington State, I think, that erupted back in the 80s, right? The bell collection includes handmade, hand-blown, crystal, cheap and expensive bells. There's a bell from Hawaii, Mount Rushmore, Elvis Presley's mansion, Graceland, and some former Douglastown residents who are working on the oil fields of Alberta. And it's very interesting. There she is, folks, a little bell collection. Right on. That's cool. There's a cafe I go to in Vancouver, and the guy collects turtles.
Oh.
Or frogs. So everybody, whatever little ornament frogs, he's got all these frogs in his... and then I had a supply teacher, Raj, when I was in high school. His name was Mr. McCluskey, and he was an older guy. He was retired, and he used to show up with a different cane every time.
Oh,
and he had a story for each cane.
Wow.
So I love those things. Well, thanks a lot. The local historian, Roger Como, just does not disappoint. He has stories on people collecting bells, folks.
Okay, this is an amazing story here from the racetrack in Chatham. The full page.
Okay.
And a well-known jockey from the Miramichi,
Okay.
Wib Jardine.
And they're off. Wib Jardine?
Yep.
Wib. Never heard that name before.
Well, I don't know if it's short for Wilbur or whatever.
Okay. So what do we got here? Joseph Gauguin and Wib Jardine, W-I-B, with Queen's Pace Trophy, Wib holding trophy while Queen Elizabeth looks on. So here's the photos before we even start to read. There's Wib and Mr. Gauguin, and there's Wib with Queen Elizabeth. Okay. This is by Bruce Hallahan, folks. August 3rd, 1988. And August 3rd just happens to be the birthday of my oldest nephew, Ben Cassidy. Mind you, he was not born until 2000, I think, in 1. Okay, so Wib Jardine stopped training and racing horses more than a quarter of a century ago. By the time he was 13, he had pestered his father, Oron, enough to get himself a two-wheeled vehicle known as Sulky. That was back in 1935. So far we have a guy named Wib. His father was Oron, O-R-A-N, and the name, their buggy, Sulky. That's 3 pretty cool names.
No, the buggy, it's a type of buggy.
Oh.
It's a sulky.
Known as a Sulky. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. Thanks,
yeah.
Raj, for the correction.
Okay.
Jardine, and you see how easy I can take correction? See how easy I can take criticism? See, I'm a Como from Logieville. We can be told anything. That's an inside joke, by the way. Jardine got into harness racing when the sport was flourishing in small rural centers throughout the Maritimes. In New Brunswick, they raced at places like Port Elgin, St. Stephen, Sussex, Bucktouche, Shediac, Sackville, Woodstock, and Chatham, as well as the larger centers, St. John, Moncton, and Fredericton. And all of those places I just named have something in common with our local historian. He has tap danced in each one of those towns. In August, to race during Old Home Week in Charlottetown, he made 23 straight appearances in the island capital celebrations in 1962. The most successful and consistent horse Jardine ever sat behind was Abeland.
Yeah.
And Abeland won again and again. For a time in the 50s, he held the track pacing record in St. John at 2:07. In 59, Abeland raced in front of Queen Elizabeth, and she's in at the Fredericton track. I just showed you the photo. Joseph Gauguin was the driver that night because Jardine was recovering from an illness. His illness was being love-struck by looking at Queen Elizabeth, folks. The next year, Abeland won the first maritime recipient of the Harness Horse of the Year award. Abeland had raced to 147 victories in the 1-mile dash, with Jardine at the reins for about 100 of those wins. Abeland has been recognized as being the all-time leading 1-mile dash winner in North America for a long time, 25 years. Now, that's a pretty remarkable story. Yeah. And this is coming from our hometown of Miramichi. There's Wib Jardine with Queen Elizabeth. And Raj, thank you for having the eye and the ability to understand the value of such a story. And in our small community, we have shared with you guys numerous things and numerous feats from our fellow Miramichiers. We are a very capable people here on this river, and we have many interests, and people have been very, very successful over the years. You know, George Muir, Canadian champion in archery, as an example. Okay, what's coming up now?
Cormier and Stairs.
Okay, another local baseball, and this is local as in New Brunswick. It says Cormier Stairs on squad, and there's a picture of Riel, just an hour and whatever, 15 minutes south of the Miramichi. Longtime Major League middle reliever, lefty. And it just says that Riel Cormier and Matt Stairs have been selected for Canada's entry at the World Amateur Baseball Championships. The pair was named to the 20-man roster Thursday by head coach Bernie Backman. And Stairs is a definite for the Olympic Games, but Cormier won't know until his pitching staff is settled. Two New Brunswickers, Stairs out of the Fredericton area, Riel Cormier out of the Moncton area, both on Team Canada, both long Major League careers, and I've followed their careers when I was a kid. Man, this barley soup, eh? Sometimes it makes you burp a little bit.
Okay. Now this is a bunch of ladies that were at a golf tournament out in St. Margaret's back in '88.
Okay, August 19th, 1988, McDonald retains title, folks. St. Margaret's, about 20 minutes south of here on the way to Moncton. Used to be a radar base, a kind of a tributary of CFBC Chatham. There's a 9-hole golf course out there. It says, Kelly McDonald of Bathurst successfully held on to her title by taking overall low score of 80. Okay?
Well, the following are all the ladies from the Miramichi that were
participated.
involved.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Roger has underlined, if you see his article there, he went through and made sure, and we were underlining some Miramichiers that were involved in this tournament, August 19th, 1988, out at the old St. Margaret's Golf Course. Sharon Case, she shot an 88. Connie Upham, it says 70. Maybe, okay. But that, okay, so Connie Upham's Miramichi 70, fourth low gross. It's her, okay, yeah. Maureen Williams of Miramichi, a 72. Now, Connie Upham, everybody around the Miramichi will know her. She's still driving some bus, I think, eh?
Yeah.
She was a great athlete. Marcia Smith, Miramichi, is shot a 74. Shirley Donovan with a 97. Mary Atkinson with a 105. Vicky Malone, 106. Vicky, the mother of NHLer Brad Malone, 106, and that was the same amount of Penley minutes that Brad Malone had in 2017. Marjorie Casey with a 67. Now, I don't know how the scoring went. It's a little bit, it's a different style here, but I'm sure those numbers made sense.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is for all the runners and the joggers.
Oh, that's cool.
And the Miramichi.
Okay, so this right here comes from 1988. This is called the Miramichi Jogging Club. And I'm just going to go through, and this is from the top, right down, probably 20 names here. And so at this time, the point leaders in the Miramichi Jog Club, however that worked, were Keith Trevors. Is that Brad and Anitra's father?
Yeah.
Okay, so Brian Richard, we mentioned him several times. He was a sports reporter, photographer for the paper. Rick McLean, David Morris, Jan Truca, and feel free to, I don't know those people, so if you have any, Burton Geeky, Sarah Veris, Wolfgang Huxma, we've mentioned him several times. I don't know what he did. I think he did an Ironman, and he's a big, solid athlete. I mentioned that I saw him jogging just a couple of weeks ago, and I'm thinking it was a granddaughter. Ed Shays Green,
yeah.
Dave Veris, Bill Morrissey, Mark Schmutz. You know what? No town is complete unless you got a last name, but you got a guy with a last name Schmutz. Danny Dinan, he worked with my dad, and he was also an honorary pallbearer at my father's recent funeral. Tracy Arsenault, Pat Boyle, Wendy Huxma, who is Wolfgang's daughter, and funny story, Roger's son Scotty worked in the woods for many years out in like Manitoba, Alberta area, and he was driving down a dirt road in the middle, I think it was Manitoba, middle of nowhere, and he recognized Wendy Huxma of the Miramichi. He went to school with her, and he was sitting with a couple of guys in the truck, and he's like, I know her. And the guys, oh yeah, right. And he drove right up, rolled down the window, and said, hey, Wendy, what's going on? And it was Wendy and Scott Cummel meeting in the deep brush in Manitoba, mosquitoes everywhere. John Thorley, Bob Morrison, Paul Huxma, he's the younger brother. Josh used to play hockey with him, Roger's other son, Josh.
Yeah.
Scotty Hare, Claire Schultz, Andre Poitras, Greg Myers, Jim Cox, Gary Daigle, Rocky Blackmore, and Bob McDonald. Those were joggers in the 1988 Miramichi. And you know what? Side note, my sister Vicky, before she went to work for probably 10 or 12 or 15 years, would go down, very dedicated, down in her basement, runs on a treadmill. Nobody in town even knew that she was running or training, and she wasn't. She was doing it for exercise. She entered a race, I don't know, 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. Nobody even knew. And she goes, I came in second. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, you second in like the ladies category? No, second. One guy beat me. It was like a 5K race. So the first race she ran, she was the first in the women's category.
Well, she never made the newspapers.
Never made the newspapers. So that was at the beginning of the downcline of newspapers.
Okay, there's an honor. This guy here was honored.
Yeah.
And now he's still doing a lot of walking.
Oh yeah, so Laurie Traer, he lives pretty close by in Taintville. For those of you in the Miramichi that don't know what Taintville is, Taint Logieville, Taint Chatham, so we'll call her Taintville. And this says Walls Trophy to Laurie Traer. He's a fine gentleman, 2 daughters. I think it was Riley and Jerry. The Chatham Ironman Baseball Club announced here Saturday that veteran Laurie Traer is the 1988 winner of the John Walls Memorial Trophy. The award was inaugurated in '74 following Walls' death at the age of 21 in a car accident, and goes to the Ironman player best combining sportsmanship and ability. And Traer, he was 35 at the time. He was a teammate of Walls from Pee Wee through junior, and they missed playing senior with him only because of the accident. So Laurie was a left-handed pitcher.
Yeah.
Yep. And you know what? I've known of Laurie Traer and stuff, but until I read that, I had no idea that he was an Ironman player.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Just a little highlight about senior softball.
Okay, so New Brunswick Senior A Championship opens tonight. This is 1988. And it says that Miramichi and Fredericton are the favorites. I'm not going to get into the article, but the reason I'm going to show you this photo is of this gentleman right here. He's a Logieviller. His name is Brad Cameron. He pitched primarily at a Fredericton for most of his career. That must have been where he moved and worked. But he started off his softball career here. And I actually ran into Brad's brother the other day, Raj, at a coffee shop, and he remembered the RAF race I was talking about, Glenn.
Yeah. Glenn.
And I spoke to Glenn, and I asked Glenn about Brad, and Glenn said that it was Brad's favorite thing to do. He pitched into his 50s. He pitched in a lot of Masters and senior tournaments. And any of you softball fans out there that know the game, Brad Cameron's top pitch was a drop ball. He was a drop ball pitcher. Didn't hit much, but he was a very effective pitcher, and for years he was kind of the number 2 guy behind Aroli Gautreau when Fredericton picked him up.
So we have a real good article here from Dave Butler. He
Okay.
did a lot of sports writing here for Miramichi.
Okay.
And this is all about
The best ball team, that memories return of best ball team. So Dave Butler contributed a lot to the local paper, and the beauty of Dave Butler, he was an English teacher. My sister had him. They did Moby Dick actually in high school, so that's amazing actually, because Moby Dick's no easy thing to do. Here's a picture of Dave, but the beauty of Dave Butler is he recognized the importance of local sports reporting, and he gave a voice and a lot of recognition to a lot of young local amateur athletes, and he covered it, and there was a lot of write-ups in it, and he put a lot of time and effort into this, so he deserves credit. Writing the story on Laurie Traer winning the John Walls, which we just mentioned, brought me a lot of memories. Now, this included memories of the best minor ball team I've ever seen. And by minor, he means under junior. So, he was like, you know, the Bantam, Pee Wee, midget age. So he says the best team that he ever saw was a midget team, Chatham Ironmen. They were Maritime Midget Champions. Bobby Bowes was the catcher. I had him as a teacher. Bobby was a good hockey player as well. He was also at my father's funeral. Ned Wrigley held down first. Johnny Walls was at second. Bobby Jardine at short. And Mike Lloyd at the hot corner. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want your car fixed, Mike Lloyd just cannot retire. He cannot retire. He still needs to go in and help out his nephew, or Mark Bowes, Bobby's son. The team had 3 outstanding pitchers, and their styles perfectly complemented each other. Laurie Traer, as per mentioned, he was the lefty, was very smart, had a good control and a nice variety of pitches. And big Laurie Gregan could throw smoke, and he always seemed a little off balance in his follow-through, usually knocking off his cap. So Laurie Gregan was also the local goaltender at that time in that age group. And this seeming unsteadiness didn't do much for opposing batters' confidence. John Curry, another righty, wasn't as fast as Gregan. No one in the Maritimes was, but Curry was fast enough. He was smart and had a good location. The outfield wasn't as set as the infield, and that consisted, when they weren't pitching Traer, Gregan, and Curry had to do a little outfield duty. And then they had other players took turn in the outfield. Supporting cast included Eddie Kenny, Wayne Morris, David Watling, and Paul Sudi Trevors. So there's a good little recognition of a midget ball team that won the Maritime Championships behind the left arm of Laurie Traer and the right arm of Laurie Gregan.
Okay, 1988, a little structure at Beaubears Island area in Nelson.
Beaubears Island in Nelson, we mentioned, great, I think it's a municipal park, I don't think it's a provincial park. It could be a provincial park. And here's a little construction. It says sun shelter completed. There's a couple of workers on that. I'll read it. It says Kathy LeBlanc and Paula McLean finished painting picnic benches for the new sun shelter in Nelson Miramichi. The shelter work took $12,000 out of a $25,000 federal grant connected to Beaubears Island. So very good. That island, if you've never been there on the Miramichi, I haven't. And I told everybody yesterday that if I'm around this summer, I will be kayaking over with my good friend, Mr. Mike McCullum of Dr. Loge Junior High School.
Okay, another New Brunswick title.
Oh, right on. Another New Brunswick title. Butler McDermott sparked Tommies to New Brunswick soccer title. So there is a soccer title. There's some 3 athletes right there. I think we got Joel McDermott, Ricky Stymus in the middle, and Jason McLean. And it just says, paced by the super defensive play of Kevin Butler and Joel McDermott, and the outstanding offensive play of Ricky Stymus and Jason McLean, Chatham's James M. Hill Memorial Tommies captured the New Brunswick High School soccer title here on the weekend. Right on. And Ricky Stymus comes from some Logieville blood, and as I mentioned before, a very underrated athlete in a way. Like, he didn't extend his playing career very long, but you know who Ricky Stymus reminded me of? I was thinking about hockey-wise.
Yeah,
Theo Fleury.
Yeah.
Kind of a Theo, never stopped, tenacious, put the puck in the net, always in the mix, didn't take a shift off.
Well, let's start off with that.
Okay.
The premier.
Right on. Here's a great photo, folks. The Cardinals. It says Cardinals Watlings lead. The Newcastle Cardinals. That was the Newcastle version of the baseball. We always talk about the Chatham Ironman here, but look at that great photo right there, folks. That's the premier. Frank McKenna throws out the first ball in the Miramichi Valley Baseball League Old Timers Tournament on Saturday. Receiving the ball is Douglastown catcher Ralph McMillan, while tournament chairman Wally Doucette is beside McKenna. So right on. That's a great photo.
Yep. Okay. This is a little donation to the food bank, people involved.
Okay. And although Raj is a big sports fan, it's well-rounded coverage that he has. This is a food bank picture. Always important in a community, folks, for everybody, for those of us that can, to support those that can't. Wayne DeWolf at the Atlantic Institution presents a large donation of food to the Newcastle Food Bank before Christmas. And once again, Brian Richard has taken the photo. Right on. Thank you, Raj.
Okay, there's some more ladies here from Nelson.
Okay, Nelson Royalty gathers, folks. Nelson Royalty. Oh, yeah. There's some lovely ladies right there. Looks like they're getting ready for a classic 1980s beauty pageant. Kind of I wonder what the heyday of beauty pageants was. 70s, 80s? The Nelson Royalty were enjoying the sunny weather on Sunday afternoon before the parade through the streets of the village. From left to right are Tammy Corcoran, she was first princess. Tracy Gauguin was the queen. Tammy Trevors was second princess. And Eileen Brennan was Miss Congeniality. So right on. A parade through Nelson in 1988. I wonder when the last time Nelson had a parade. Oh, here's a cool one. This is a brother of a friend of mine. I hung out with this guy's brother a lot in university. This is Chris Hambrook. Hollywood looks right there. Hambrook sets hat trick record in the Big Six. The Big Six used to be the high school hockey in New Brunswick. Very competitive, hard hitting. Back in the 80s, it was just scrap central. Anyway, Chris Hambrook set a record. The speedy, hard-shooting winger with the James M. Hill Memorial Tommies set a New Brunswick Big Six High School Hockey League scoring record here on Saturday. He popped in a natural hat trick in 2.5 minutes as his team downed Cite des Jeunes 8-0. Hambrook scored 2 goals in 38 seconds during his first shift of the game and added his third less than 2 minutes later. So wow, what a day he had, or a night.
Oh, we got a nice little coverage there. We mentioned
Andre.
here before.
Okay, so like I said before, we mentioned Andre before. He comes from a very athletic family. His father used to cut hair, Frank. And this young man right here, he was a baseball, hockey. All the boys did. Mike and Eric. I think that's them. I don't know if there's any others there. But Andre, unfortunately, it was a game over against Newcastle. The rivalries, Chatham, James M. Hill and MVHS, and Andre, I think he was checked from behind into the boards. I don't know the real story, but it broke his neck, and it was the last time he walked. And there was a benefit hockey game for Andre Desprez and his family, and this was from December 28th, 1988. The game is between MVHS and James M. Hill, and the game is at 8. Desprez, a member of the Tommies, was hurt in a game between the two teams in November. Oh, this was just a month later. He went head first into the boards. He was paralyzed when his neck was broken. He has some movement in his arms. He has been hospitalized in Moncton ever since. He had a brief visit home for Christmas at that time. He's expected to go to Toronto for treatment. And again, I was a kid when this happened, and I remember hearing this. And it really disturbed me, Raj, to just know that a hockey player, it really hurt me a lot. And there was another guy down in Boston, or in the college, and Travis Roy was his name. And maybe I'm getting that mixed up. I'm going to stop right there before I go any further. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure.
Well, we'll look, Junior, this little thing here.
Okay. And this is our guy here in Logieville. This is Junior McDonald. His name is Clarence, but everybody called him Junior. And he was the mayor of Logieville for, I don't know, over 20 years or something like that. And it says, part of Wellington finally paved. That's what the mayor says. And Roger has a little thing underlined right here. And it says, this is the 20th year McDonald has served as an elected official for the village of Logieville. So right on. Junior McDonald, an athlete. He actually helped coach my Adam hockey team with his son-in-law, Jimmy Malone, father of NHLer Brad Malone. And Junior used to pick me up and was really good to me. And Roger mentioned when Roger was a young teenager, Junior lent him equipment and brought him up to play on his first organized hockey team. So, and you always said Junior had good hands, eh?
Oh, yes. Good
stick handler, good ball player. He was always a mild-mannered guy, and he worked for Ben's Bread.
Yeah, Lanes, I guess.
Lanes?
Or, maybe.
Yeah, we can't get names straight here. Sorry, Junior, no disrespect, but we know that you were delivering, it was mainly a bread product.
Oh, well, what I was a young lad just watching skating and the hockey there. Junior was my idol.
Right on.
I said, holy heck. I wish I'd be able to do that as I get older.
Yeah, right on.
Well, anyway, I ended up getting this thing you're calling me across Canada the most.
What's that? Oh, the puck hog. So Junior was a puck hog, but his prodigy here, his Roger Como, he taught him everything he knew and more because Roger became twice the puck hog that Junior McDonald could ever wish to be.
Well, now there's a list here of Canadian prospects that
Okay.
were selected for Major League Baseball.
Oh, yeah?
So just underlined.
Okay.
Well,
So here's a list right here. It says Cormier's among top Canadian prospects. So here, this is an article here listing all the Canadian prospects. Here's a young Riel Cormier, pitcher out of near Moncton, left-hander, and he is mentioned in this list, which is really cool. Riel Cormier, left-handed pitcher from Capellet, New Brunswick, by the St. Louis Cardinals from Community College of Rhode Island. And Riel Cormier was a focused guy. Like he wasn't the hardest thrower, but a very effective left-handed, mainly middle reliever.
Well, some local Miramichiers did get a chance to view what landed at CFB Chatham.
Oh, wow. And this is something I was talking to Raj the other day, okay? So here's an airplane. We had an Air Force base here, CFB Chatham, for many years. I don't know the history of it. My dad worked there as a civilian in the refrigeration. It says CFB Chatham will provide support services to 425 Tactical Fighter Squadron from November 13th to November 25th. As CF-18 pilots from Bagotville undergo training in the weapons system at the Trackety Range. But there was a lot of interesting things that went on. I never took interest in mechanics and airplanes and stuff like that, but for those in the area that did, good for you guys, because it was probably like a really interesting and amazing time here on the river.
So we got two teams here. One team belongs to Andre Hashi.
Yeah.
And the other team belongs to David Skid.
Okay. Teams for what? Oh, just working teams.
Shoppers Drug Mart.
Okay, so it says Happy New Year from the management and staff, and this is a full-page ad in the 1988, probably near season's end edition of Miramichi Leader, or was it Northumberland News? And it's from Shoppers Drug Mart. And there's the group from the Newcastle side of Shoppers right there. It doesn't have any names. And then there's the group from the Chatham side. And it also doesn't have any names. But they got their staffs together, got a photo, and said, Happy New Year to all those on the Miramichi. Right on, Raj.
Okay, we're going to get outside of our sports zone. I know I highlighted this here, but probably should start off with the first paragraph.
And, we've mentioned Wayne before, and, we're just honoring Gretzky because, Gretzky was always in the news across Canada. Hockey is a Canadian tradition. This is, most likely the greatest player that's ever lived. I mean, that's very subjective, of course, in nature. There's a few names that get mentioned, but Wayne Gretzky had an unbelievable career, held over 50 NHL records. Mario Lemieux won the scoring title in '88, but it was one of '99's most memorable years, 1988. He captained the Edmonton Oilers to their 4th Stanley Cup championship in 5 years. He won MVP honors in the process. He married a Hollywood actress, and I put actress in quotations because Janet was in about 2 movies, and her career never really took off, but she's lovely. And moved to sunny California in a stunning trade to the Los Angeles Kings. He then negotiated a new contract that made him hockey's first $2 million a year skater. Now they're up to whatever it is. And you know what, Raj? When Wayne Gretzky got traded, I remember exactly where I was. There was a ball tournament going on over here in Logieville, and I remember it was me that broke the news to you because I just watched it on TV and you were over at the ball field. I said, Gretzky's gone to the LA Kings.
There you go.
Yep. Which was the famous press conference there where he was, got all tearied.
Just show Now
Okay.
the leader shows a full page, and it's just kind of a review of what took place in 1988.
Okay.
Just a few little things.
Okay. 1988 year in review. Big Miramichi leader. Look at the cool artwork up there. There was color in here. Here's some captions of the Miramichi 1988. There is some writing on the captions here. It looks like some bridge work was being done. Honk if you want a new bridge. That looks like a net of some sort. There's protests going on. And, you know, it says defeated MP Bud Jardine congratulates new Miramichi MP Maurice Dion. Newcastle had a problem with the water, and in a photo protest draws attention to conditions at the Chatham dump. Canadian singer Katie Lang, you know what, I was wondering if that was Katie Lang, performs at a unique outdoor concert in Newcastle. A protection barrier is part of the continuing efforts to maintain our salmon resources. Okay, and then the need for new bridges is emphasized, including a Morrissey Bridge replacement, which did happen. In a photo, area residents took the new Anderson Bridge. There's Katie Lang. You know, there's some salmon net fishing protests. There's some new bridge needed. And there's Katie Lang. And you know what? If you do nothing else today, and you're just sitting around saying, you know what, I want to look up something on YouTube, look up Katie Lang, and you will not be disappointed. She's an amazing Canadian artist, and her version of Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen's song, is just remarkable. And you know what, Katie Lang, I have a few albums. Neil Young was supposed to headline the Junos one year, and that's when he had like his brain aneurysm thing, and he couldn't do it. And I remember as a kid, I was getting all geared up. I wanted to see the Neil Young performance. And he couldn't do it, so who stepped in? Katie Lang. And this is before I really knew about her. And I was like, what? And she came out and did 2 Neil Young songs. And just floored everybody. And I was like, wow. So I've always had respect for Katie Lang after that.
Okay, continuation of the highlights of 1988 in sports.
Okay.
That might be the highlight here for...
Okay, Robert Stewart, cheers the MVHS. Okay, yeah. So 1988 in sports, year in review. This is what Raj got for us, folks. And here we are. That's with the MVHS team, the Palamo winning the Big Six hockey championship in the provincial title. There's a photo of Terry Whaling. I'll do a little bit of reading here. There's Pauline Lorden. I think it's Pauline. Yep, Pauline Lorden. She went on to a remarkable athletic career. And there's a picture of Terry Morris. And he was a baseball hockey guy, left-handed arm. So a little bit of reading. So Terry Morris gets the Male Athlete of the Year nod for the Miramichi Leaders 87-88 Male Athlete of the Year. He was 17. He has been a standout on 3 major sports teams, hockey and soccer for the Tommies, and midget baseball for the Ironmen. And the soccer Tommies won the New Brunswick AAA crown. The baseball Ironmen won the New Brunswick title, with Morris playing key roles in both championships. In hockey, he played with Team Atlantic last winter in Quebec in the World Midget Championships, and he's leading the scoring race in the New Brunswick Big Six League. Terry was a really focused athlete. And then for the Hoopsters, Pauline Lorden is the Miramichi Leaders 87 Female Athlete of the Year. That's a great photo of Pauline. It just shows how healthy she looked, a great smile. She coached my sister in basketball years later, and she had a super season with the University of New Brunswick Red Bloomers basketball squad. Led the Atlantic University's Athletic Association League in scoring, averaging 22 points a game. And she was the AUAA's most valuable player. Naturally, she was a first-team All-Star. She's majoring in English literature and holding a full Beaverbrook scholarship worth upwards of $20,000 over 4 years. She played for Team Canada. Highly focused athlete. I remember I saw her at the gym, 20 years ago, and I told her that there was good mangoes over at Sobeys. And she was like, oh yeah? And then here's a picture of Robert Stewart. He was one of the coaches of the Big Six hockey, celebrating his. Robert Stewart was coach of the Newcastle Junior Cardinals and Douglastown Mosquito Bee Combines baseball teams, and former coach of the Miramichi Valley Palamu hockey team. He was named Coach of the Year by the Miramichi Leader. And the top executive was Terry Whalen. For the 5th year in a row, Whalen has been named Miramichi Executive of the Year by the Sports Department of the Miramichi Leader. And there's a great photo of Terry Whalen, Executive of the Year, Robert Stewart, Coach of the Year, Terry Morris, Male Athlete of the Year, and Pauline Lorden, Female Athlete of the Year in 1988. The local historian, Roger Cummel, had it all organized, underlined, highlighted, and that's part 2 of our 1988, Raj.
Yeah, right through.
And that's perfect.
We'll just pause to see if we're going to close this off this way or...
I think that's probably good, eh?
Yeah?
Yeah, you're a busy man.
You should do work.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So, like I say, in the beginning, we had Bob McCullum. That's his original song. He started us off with that. And, yeah, Raj, okay, so we'll be back to you guys, I don't know, possibly tomorrow. I'm going to be away all weekend. If Raj is around and he wants to yank out another folder, we can do another episode. Oh, you know what? The sponsor. I'll wait next time. I had something here, and we'll just do that next time. It was another Wishworks from the Core Store, but we'll show that next time. So thanks again, Raj.
Very good.
Have a good day, folks.